Hey everyone, welcome to the Happy Flosser podcast. My name is Billy Lunt. I am your host, and I'm here to talk to you about all things dental hygiene to support you on your journey through the dental hygiene program. It is fantastic to be with you today. Today's episode is called Bloom Where You Are Planted. I have spent the last few weeks planting my garden, raking off my garden beds and getting things ready for the summer blooming season. So I couldn't help but think about all of the things that a plant goes through in order to blossom. So the winter covers all the things up and it gives the plant time to grow and develop strong root systems. And then in the springtime, when we foster and nourish and provide all the nutrients and water and sunlight and warmth that the flower needs, the flower comes up through, and then all summer long, we get these beautiful blossoms. And all of the work that we put into our garden. So if you're not a gardener, that's okay. You will still get the point of this episode as a dental hygiene student or as an educator or as a dental provider out there. So blooming where you're planted is all about thriving in your current circumstances. So if I am a daffodil in New Hampshire, my circumstances are going to be different than if I am a daffodil in Virginia or Florida. And I am not a flower expert, so I don't even know if daffodils will bloom where they're planted in those states, but you'll get my point here. Blooming where you're planted is about thriving no matter what your circumstances are, even if they're not ideal. Maybe it's too cold here in New Hampshire for a daffodil, so they make adaptations and adjustments so that when they do bloom, they bloom to the best of their ability given their environment. So in this episode, we're going to talk about some of the steps that you can take to embrace growth and fulfillment for yourself, like you are a beautiful daffodil out in out in my garden bed. And the first thing I have to say is shift your mindset, right? So you have to focus on what you can control rather than dwelling on your limitations. So my daffodils had to wait for me to rake off those garden beds. And if any of you have been paying attention, the weather in New Hampshire, it's been raining and raining and raining. So my poor little daffodils had to wait until I finally took the leaves off of them so that they could get some sunshine in order to blossom. So they weren't dwelling on the fact that I had taken too long to get the leaves off of them. Instead, they were embracing the fact that they were getting extra water because there was lots of rain. So instead of dwelling on the negative, they were focused on the positive. And yes, I am speaking for the plant here, so you just have to roll down the hill with me. And that's just a way of practicing gratitude for the opportunities and lessons in their current situation. So my little daffodils were so happy once I took the leaves off of them and they could breathe and they could be exposed to sunshine, and they really look for ways to take those opportunities as a chance to grow and thrive. And when you are blooming where you're planted as a dental hygiene student or as a clinician, look for those opportunities for growth. Look for ways to expand your skills. And you're doing that by listening to this podcast. You are developing your knowledge. You're creating connections with others. Those are opportunities for growth. Take little small risks that push you outside your comfort zone for professional development. If you are not feeling uncomfortable on the daily, you are not taking opportunities to grow. I want you to feel uncomfortable at least a little bit every day, because that means you are taking small steps in the right direction to bloom where you are planted. When we get ourselves uncomfortable, we are stretching ourselves into spaces that we need to be, that we currently are not. So if you're feeling a little uncomfortable, a little uneasy, got butterflies in your stomach, you're being nervous because you're challenging yourself to do something that maybe doesn't come on autopilot or doesn't feel like second nature to you, that's awesome. That means that you are growing, you are stretching, and you are developing new skills that you will need for your future self. Those daffodils out in my garden, they grow and thrive every year, even under the worst conditions. If we have a really cold, snowy winter, somehow they manage to still develop and thrive in that environment. So use my daffodils as an example. Make the most of every single day. So I have this list of things that you could do to bloom where you're planted. If you make the most of every single day, I just have to share with you guys. I got this so cool thing from one of my good friends and colleagues, Deb. Deb bought me for Christmas this little this little thing. It's called Best Week Ever, and it's this daily thing where you can write down greatest Monday of all time. And I always set 3 intentions of each and every day. Extraordinary, awesome Tuesday, world's finest Wednesday. This is just like the greatest little pad that she got me. And I love what it says on the bottom. And next week's going to be even bester. So it really helps set a positive intention to bloom where you're planted, to make the most of each day, aligning your goals with what you're actually doing every single day to find joy in those really small moments and make progress, little tiny progress, little tiny steps towards that goal. If you don't know where you want to be in 5 years and you can't actually set your intentions towards that goal, then you're just kind of aimlessly going along. My little daffodils know that they want to expand, grow, and strengthen themselves. So every year they do a little bit better. And every year they're a little more colorful and they're a little more spread out. So they are making the most of every day and whatever opportunity comes their way to grow and thrive in my garden bed. So bloom where you are planted, set your intentions towards that 5-year plan, and take little meaningful steps and celebrate your progress. Every week, look at that list that you made for your little intentions every single day and say, oh my gosh, I accomplished all of those things. Maybe it wasn't on the daily, but maybe it was more on the weekly or even on the monthly. When you look back over your yearly calendar, you'll be so surprised at how much progress you make. So find the joy in those little small moments, because if you focus on that, it will give you the ambition to take the next step and do the next scary thing and take the next journey into something uncomfortable. I also want you to build meaningful relationships. Connect with other people who inspire you to be better, to do better, to know more, to do more, to be creative, to let yourself go, to just get yourself out there. Do something that's crazy. There are so many people out there that are looking to support you, to help build value in your life. And I'm telling you, when you build those meaningful relationships, it really kind of holds you to another standard to say, oh my gosh, I set this goal and now I have to do it because I told this person and they've invested in me. So I don't want to let them down. So now I'm going to have to do it. And then you actually grow together. And it will provide you the opportunity to offer support and kindness to those around you. So those relationships will actually support and uplift each other. This is such a great way. Networking is such a great way to develop your whole self, because it's no fun to do any of this stuff alone. You need a strong network of people to really bloom where you are planted. Now, for myself, I am on the internet. I am recording a podcast. I am all by myself. But I have to tell you, I have such a big community of amazing people who inspire me every week to continue hitting that record button. Just when I think, this is probably enough episodes to call it a day and say, okay, I have made an impact on the field of dental hygiene. And geez, there's probably enough episodes for students out there that they have a resource to go to. And just when I think that that's enough, I'll get this amazing message from a student or a clinician or an educator, and they'll offer this beautiful kindness and inspiring message. And it just makes me want to come back and hit the record button again. So take the time to build those meaningful relationships, and also look for ways that you can invest in others and build value in what they're doing, because that really is the essential piece. That's the fertilizer for you, you guys. That's the fertilizer that's going to help instill growth and opportunity for you. And then another one, to bloom where you're planted, is to embrace change and adaptability. Accept that life is constantly evolving and you've got to remain flexible. I am not recording podcasts the way that I did when I started recording. I am not doing clinical dental hygiene the way that I did when I learned in school and how I was trained. Everything continuously evolves, grows, and changes. And you need to be able to be adaptable to those changes and really embrace those changes that occur. It's really what makes things exciting, guys. So don't stand off to those challenges and changes that occur. Look at it as a really positive way to continue to evolve yourself and be amazing. So look at challenges as stepping stones towards what's next. Remember that 5-year yourself. Who are you in 5 years? What do you look like? What do you act like? What do you think about? How do you behave? All of those things. Think about how the changes will support you to reach that goal of being that person that you want to be. And then learn from your setbacks, because I can't talk about growth and opportunity without talking about setbacks. I actually look for failure, because if I fail fast at something, then I know that the success is right around the corner. Oh, I screwed that up. I'll try anything once. I'll give it a shot and see how it goes. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to try to figure out the why behind how it didn't, how it wasn't a success, and then figure out, okay, what can I make for changes so that I can become resilient and I can use that as fuel to improve myself when I do it again. And through that whole process of developing my resilience, I'm going to stay committed to my personal values and my aspirations. Nothing is going to deviate me from my plan. And if anything, all of those failures are just going to point me closer, a more pinpointed direction towards my goal and my plan, and set my intentions even stronger. It's going to show me what I'm made of. So don't be afraid of setbacks. And any time that you fail, it's really just a setup to getting you one step closer to success. I've seen so many different inspiring messages online where it says, if you knew that you had to fail 10 times to be successful on that 11th try, wouldn't you just want to really quickly get those 10 times out of the way? That's exactly right, guys. That is exactly what you want to be doing. When you fail, get right back up and do it again. You might fail again, but get right back up and do it again, because the person who has failed 10 times is not the same person who never tried. So keep that resilience developing as you continue to bloom where you are planted. And I know I've talked about this in so many episodes, keeping a positive environment. Surround yourself with the things that bring you joy. Get out in nature, read a good book, listen to awesome music, whatever brings you joy, and keep your space organized and uplifted. I'm a person who, when I leave at the end of the work week, I want to make sure that my desk is clean and neat and organized. And something that I started doing, which has really helped set my mind of separating work from home, is before I leave at the end of the day, I'll take a Post-it and I'll stick it on my desk, and I'll write the 3 things that I want to accomplish the next day when I come in. So when I leave at the end of the day, I don't have to think about that stuff anymore, because I know it's going to be the first thing that greets me when I get back there. It has been a game changer for me. I used to go to work in the morning and I would write down the 5 things that I wanted to accomplish that day. That actually didn't work for me as well as this is working for me. So this was something that I adapted and developed this year for myself, because I have so many things coming at me in all different directions, and I don't want to forget anything. And gosh, it's real easy to do so when you have a life of constant interruption and you're trying to keep a schedule going and everything. But what I have found by at the end of the day, writing those 3 things down and knowing that I can add a couple of things to that list when I get back the next day, it makes me set it and forget it. I don't have to think about it when I go home. I can be focused on other things. I can be focused on my family. And then that stuff is with me when I get back to work. I know what my focus needs to be once I sit back down at my desk and I do the things. So hopefully that helps you with your environment and staying organized. And then take care of yourself. Prioritize self-care. I know that I have to actually schedule time to go for a walk and not buy that bag of M&Ms. I love mini M&Ms so much. And I try not to have them at my desk because they're so easy for me to just pick up and eat. But yeah, I have to limit my mini M&Ms to stressful times during finals week and maybe startup weeks for the school time. But definitely taking care of yourself and invest in activities that nourish both your mind and your body. I really like to have conversation with other dental hygienists and really find out where they're at and how things are going and support them. That tends to fill my cup when I'm networking with other educators and other hygienists out there in the field. And then a couple of other things just to share before I wrap up here. Identify ways that you can contribute meaningfully, whether that's at work, in your relationships, or in your community, or a little bit of all of those things. If you can find purpose in your current situation to bloom where you're planted and stretch yourself maybe outside of your bubble and really foster development, growth, and opportunity at a community level or relationships with others in your network. Recognize that every single experience that you've encountered as a dental hygiene student, as a dental hygienist out in the field, or as an educator working with students, all of those things have value. Even if it's not your ultimate destination to be some community advocate or be in a relationship with the community or on the federal or state level, just having a story to share about something that you've experienced that you're passionate about, share it with others so that you can get that out there and collaborate with one another. And then the last thing I will say, and this is just something that comes with time and experience that I think it's important for students to know, is to stay open to new possibilities. Keep an open mind about where life might lead you, because honestly, you just absolutely 100% never know. Trust that growth happens in the very most unexpected ways. I would have never thought that I would be doing all of the things that I'm doing, even 10 years ago, if you had asked me. It's just kind of really helping me. I went to a church women's breakfast about 12 years ago, and the title of the breakfast was Bloom Where You Are Planted. And what was great was it was a recording that I was able to take after this women's breakfast, and it was so inspiring to me. And I was like, I want to do that for others. I had no idea at that time that that one little women's breakfast was going to have such an impact on me. And what was really cool was, and I'm going to date myself here, and that's okay. I was able to get her breakfast recording on CD, and I played it in my car over and over and over. I don't know how many times I listened to that recording about blooming where you're planted, but one of the things that she said in that women's breakfast, and I wish I could remember the name of the woman, and I have this sign in my office that says bloom where you are planted, is growth happens in unexpected ways and you just absolutely never know. But if you do everything that I'm telling you, take steps to create those meaningful relationships, to put yourself in uncomfortable situations, to grow a little bit every single day, blooming where you're planted means that you're thriving while preparing for the next chapter of your life, whatever that is. Think about how you don't even know what the future holds. You have an idea about what you want your life to look like. But if somebody asked me, especially like right now, what do you want your life to look like in 5 years? I can think broadly about it, but the real fine details about who I want to impact, how I want to build value, what I want to create, how I want to live, where I want to live, and what I want to be doing. All of those things get a little fuzzy the more detailed you get. So if you can just stay broad and know that life can lead you in a whole bunch of different directions, and you can trust that the unexpected happens when you're putting yourself through those failures on a repeated daily, because the failures lead to growth and the growth leads to progress and opportunity. And it builds resilience along the way. And all of those things are preparing you for whatever it is, those unexpected things. So thrive while you are preparing for whatever comes your way. All right. Keep working hard, doing all the things that you need to do to reach your goals as a dental hygiene student, as a dental provider, as an educator, as a podcast listener. I hope you guys have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.